Hi, I'm Jordan and this is Told by Thread. Okay, so today is my second project from my winter thread plans, which I'll put a link to here if you haven't already seen it. This is going to be what I described as a apron style layer dress. This is the inspiration I found on Pinterest. And I'm going to be self-drafting this, which will be one of the first times I've done this, so this should be interesting. You'll be learning along with me. Okay, so when I look closely at this inspiration pic, I can see that it's fairly straight. There's a bit of a curve down, and I'm thinking I can probably use the tie dress bodice. The neckline's slightly different, but I don't need it to be exactly the same as this inspiration. And I quite like the neckline on the tie dress, so let's not make more battles than we need to. So I'm thinking I can use that same bodice, just extend it out a bit and put a curve in. I can also see that there is a bit of a gathering at the waist. So we'll just do some light gathering. I'm not a huge fan of gathering, so I think 1.5 times should be more than enough. So the fabric I'm using is this gorgeous muslin fabric that I got from Remnant Warehouse, along with this striped silk blend that I got from Draper's Fabric. Now, because they're quite sheer, I'm going to have to do French seams for most of this because they'll be on display, which is extra work, but it's a beautiful finish and it will actually make it more durable. So my other plan for this dress is also to cover it with some outlined embroidery of flowers. I'm going to be doing some Australian flowers. I've almost finished the artwork for it. Obviously the embroidery is going to take a heck of a long time, so you'll have to follow me on socials to get the latest updates on that one. But I will share another video once that's all done to show it off, because I'm really sure it's going to be absolutely gorgeous and a piece that I'm just incredibly proud of. So this is going to be over 2 days, this make. So that didn't happen. Today is day 3, and because Mercury is in the microwave, this has been quite the week. Firstly, my measurements were all wrong. Well, not really, but I missed a few important bits. And secondly, my idea of doing like a rolled hem on the facing was unfortunately a total bust, but it was still worth trying because that's how we learn, and I've never done that before and we learned. So I took some time out and recalculated, and I cut some new bodice pieces, a seam down the middle, but I think that's all right because it's on the back. For the neckline, I'm planning to do bias binding. So I made some last night. I had to make it out of some small pieces, small squares of fabric, so there's quite a few joins, which is not amazing. The only other thing that I'm still worried about is the skirt might be a little bit too narrow. I think I could have got away with 2 times the width of the bodice. I think it'll still be okay. If it really bothers me, I can add another panel in and okay, there'll be another seam added in. But it'll be covered with embroidery and no one's going to notice except for me. And if the finish is at least nice, then it won't annoy me as much as this first attempt did. So the muslin lived up to its name and ended up becoming a muslin. And I learned a lot. And I've ended up using nearly all of my fabric. So this is going to be the only sort of wasted bit. So if you haven't already guessed, this is going to be a 2-part series. But I'd rather get this looking as good as I possibly can. So I'm really proud wearing it. Just took the time out last night and stayed back, cut everything. So it's all prepped and ready to go. So let's get sewing. I'm going to be using the front bodice from the tie dress with curved neckline, and also the ties, some paper, ruler, all the bits and bobs. I think we're ready to go. So to draft my pattern pieces, I'm taking the tie dress bodice and extending the edge across the bottom by about 8 centimetres and then adding 2 centimetres along the top and below. I'll then use a French curve to join the 2 points, and this will get that nice curve that wraps around the side body when worn. So the new bodice looks like this, with 2 centimetres seam allowance for the French seams, and I don't have to worry about the curved edge because I'll be finishing that with binding. I'll also cut 4 of those same ties from the tie dress pattern to make my side ties, and I'm actually going to cut an additional 4 more to make the binding for the curved edge. Now I'm cutting 4 instead of 2 because I was running out of fabric and I had to just join them. I also made some double fold bias binding with scraps, which I'm going to use to finish the neckline. Finally, to calculate the skirt panels, I first measured the width along the bottom edge of the bodice and multiplied that by 1.5. To get my length, I measured from my natural waist to my desired length. I then divided that width into thirds. And that first 2/3 will be my muslin fabric, and the final third will be my stripe fabric. The left and right sides plus the top edge of each panel get 2 centimetres seam allowance, and because I want a deep hem, I'm adding 9 centimetres to the bottom edge. So that's everything, and you can see why I got muddled and forgot or miscalculated sections. So I have my 2 bodice pieces. So I'm just going to attach them along the shoulder seams. And because I'm doing a French seam, we do them wrong sides together first, flip it out, and do the right sides together. Okay, so we have a 2 centimetre total seam allowance, which is 1 centimetre for each French seamy bit. Okay, so that's just our normal 1 centimetre seam. So now we trim this close to the stitch line and then turn it out and resew 1 centimetre. I think out of every part of this project, this is the part that makes me the most nervous, given my experience the last 2 days, and that's finishing the neckline. So I'm going to pin this around, right sides facing along the edge, and then we do a nifty trick with the ends, which I haven't done on a neckline before, so hence why I'm nervous. Okay, all done. I should add that I trimmed my seams down a lot because this is so sheer. You want them to be very, very small. Normally you wouldn't have to worry about that. And also, if you're nervous, pin the shit out of it. Oh my goodness, I did it. I was too scared to film the whole thing, so I'll link you to a video that I used, which was by Sewing Therapy. It's just a really short one, so it was really handy. Yay! I'm so pleased with that. Okay, so the quilters among you will be familiar with that technique, and have I done this to the right side? I've done this to the wrong side. Ah, dear. I sewed it to the wrong side. Oh, this week. But I think I can salvage it still because we're folding over. I'll just fold over that stitch line and stitch in the ditch. Not quite that it's a ditch. We'll give it a go and try. I just had a thought before I started stitching this down. Test run. Let's see if you can see it. I used the decorative stitch. So I actually did do this as like a proper mock bias binding. And I think that's kind of cute. I might do that. I'm so pleased with the results. Yeah. It just goes to show sometimes mistakes can lead you to really beautiful places. I've missed a few bits, but who cares? Ironically, the back is better than the front. So I've got 8 strips from the tie dress tie pattern piece. So obviously 4 pieces are going to be the ties, and these I'm going to use for the binding on the edge here. So that should match this one quite nicely. Now I'm wondering if I should do the decorative. No, I think I'll just do regular for the sides. Don't want to get too crazy. Over the last 2 days, I've sewn the 2 skirt panels. So I need to gather those in and attach to that. Do the side ties, and also we've got the trim. Bring it up a bit. I don't know. We'll play around with that next week, but it's looking really good and I'm feeling much happier now than I was the last 2 days. Yeah, so I think that's where I'm going to leave it for this week. Come along. That was a lot faster than the last 2 days, which is good. So come back next Sunday. I should be posting the second half then. And until then, have an awesome week. Okay. God, what's her name? Hey, I'm Jordan. So now I've got to do a goodbye. Blah, 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 blah. Might film this again. Okay, let's do this.